When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. There is no more talking about it. There is no more making videos on it's time to stand up. It's time to start swinging.
How is it that a bunch of people, active and retired, military men, veterans, in light of everything that's going on, don't seem to know how to organize and start a movement of any kind and bring the people together?
Mr. Putin, some of us Americans are smart enough to find the truth and figure things out. We don't believe the United States mainstream media anymore. We know you're being backed into a corner, and we ask that you show mercy as much as possible to the regular civilian Americans.
How about Ohio declares its sovereignty as an independent state, therefore its own country within the United States, and it can then seek foreign aid from Putin.
The war we'll fight is right here at home against their own government. And a message to Russia and China, we don't want war with you.
So these crazed folks have taken to TikTok to talk about how they want war with the United States. MAGA patriots, they want war with the United States of America. Not sure how that's gonna get carried out, but they like to talk about it a lot. So of course, when they go on their TikToks, they stop dancing and they've begun violent, bloodthirsty rhetoric. But what I'm trying to get, the idea I'm trying to get though is where are they getting these ideas from that there's secession or civil war on the brink? Watch.
What is the other answer if it's not a divorce?
In my life, in my world, all of my friends are regular Americans. Everyone I talk to is sick and tired and fed up of being bullied by the left, abused by the left, and disrespected by the left. And our ideas, our policies, our ways of life have become so far apart that it's just coming to that point. And the last thing I ever want to see in America is a civil war. No one wants that. At least everyone I know would never want that. But it's going that direction, and we have to do something about it.
Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't want anything with secession or civil war, but the regular idiot Americans that she talks to, they have to be ready for it, apparently. If you say you don't want something and then follow it by but, it means you are about to contradict what you just said. So she does want some violence. She does want some civil war because that's what America's supposed to be. She even mentioned that it's what the founding fathers eventually did want too. See if you think that makes any sense. But you know what? That was only a sampling of some of the things that these MAGA patriots have been saying. Let's watch more of how they've been inspired by her.
This current administration is an enemy of the state. They have sold out the American people and are destroying our country from within. It is time to take our country back and take it back to the fundamentals in which it was built on. Our founding fathers are probably turning in their graves. Enough's enough. After the 2020 election, that was enough. It's time to take our country back. No quarter given. I love you guys. It's time to rise up.
Time to rise up. And I guess call for war against the United States of America. It's really weird how this happens because say you collect about 10,000 MAGA soldiers and they've got the AR-15s and AKs and pistols. And like, yeah, we're gonna go take over the country because blood and soil and Vladimir Putin. Really weird how that works, but since they don't stand a chance at all, who is it that they do trust? They don't trust the United States, they don't trust the government, they don't trust anyone else except for themselves, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump. Who would they possibly get help from? They have answers for that too, watch.
We can see that you've been in charge of Russia since 1994 or mid-90s, and you have shown no aggression to the outside world. You've been the scapegoat for many, many years, and you have done nothing. And for you to show such resilience and patience with the evil leaders of this world, I can't even imagine being you.
How about Ohio declares its sovereignty as an independent state, and it can then seek foreign aid from Putin. The United States government has attacked the people of Ohio and other states with this chemical warfare so soon after their bioweapon attack, known as COVID. This is war, people. Our government is at war with its people.
We, the people, won't be part of your proxy war against Russia or China. There'll be a lot of bloodshed on both sides. If you want a war, take it up with the government. Come get old Sleepy Joe and the cronies up there. Take them back with you. Do what you want.
Ben, they're calling for war. They want to rise up against the United States. They're calling for help from Vladimir Putin and anyone else outside the United States that they can. Come and get old Sleepy Joe. Do with him what you want. We don't want war with you. We're actually afraid, Vladimir. As a matter of fact, the whole time we've been brainwashed and think that you're a bad guy. In reality, you are our savior. This is where we stand from rhetoric from people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and her savior, Lord and Savior, Donald effing Trump.
Are you trying to make my brain explode by showing 30 clips before I can comment? I have so many things to say.
I have 2 more.
Really? Okay, let me just quickly unload some of my thoughts here. First of all, I love the last dude who, in the sleepiest voice possible, goes, "You gotta get rid of sleep, Joe." Oh, really? Is that the issue? That dude is stoned as hell. He's like, "We're gonna have war." I got no problem with weed, but I wouldn't go into battle high. Well, maybe I would, but weed gives me energy, makes that guy sleepy. So there's that. Then there's the Ohio guy who just is maybe the least intimidating. "We're gonna have war with Ohio, and we're gonna get funding from Putin." I mean, what planet does this exist? It's nonsensical and it's insane. And then there's the guy who's in love with Vladimir Putin with the romantic music. "Please, sir, you were amazing. You've shown no aggression." This man, you've shown no aggression. I mean, except of course when you invaded Crimea and then again now invaded Ukraine. But other than that, you've done nothing, sir. Of course, also cracked down and poisoned and killed your own people. But other than that, you've done nothing, sir. We love you so much. So that guy's a total nutcase. And then, of course, majorly tainted Grinch, who's the one starting all of this. She is, as you perfectly pointed out, poisoning the well and does want a civil war. There's no people on the left calling for civil war. There's none on the left calling for secession or national divorce. And I also think it's amazing that she calls for national divorce. So basically, the right wing in this country now has even granted marriage rights to countries before wanting to grant it to the LGBTQ community. Countries can get married, they can get divorced, just not human beings with hearts and feelings and experiencing true love. And she wants, it's heading toward civil war. Why? Because she tried it already. She ginned up the insurrection. She had secret meetings at the White House and pushed it forever, and it failed. And so now she's trying to do it again because she doesn't want to govern, she doesn't want to lead. She has raised $0 for any projects, for any help for her own state, which she is actually there to do, which is actually what her job is in Washington. But no, she'd rather go on Hannity and gin up a civil war. These people need to be stopped. And if you're someone who is calling for war based on the rallying cry of Marjorie Taylor Greene, you are such a stupid person. You shouldn't even be served at Applebee's. You should be put at the back of a line for a bowling lane, let alone be a general leading the revolution towards a new America. It's laughable. It's the only positive this brings. It makes me tickles me in a great way.
This is the thing, right? After Marjorie Taylor Greene said all this about secession and divorce and everything else she can, there was a lot laughed about it. I was one of them. This is the thing. These types of folks aren't laughing. And no, they can't pull off the insurrection and the overturning of the government and coming after Sleepy Joe and all that stuff. But what they can do is kill random Americans because that's what they do. We know the uptick in domestic terrorism from the right wing that's happening in the country. These types of things are inspired by them. And then when it does happen, they go, who could have seen this coming? Lone wolf, lone wolf, lone wolf. So maybe you guys think I'm being unfair by connecting Marjorie Taylor Greene's rhetoric to these types of folks talking. Don't forget, they were just talking about trusting in Vladimir Putin, how he's done nothing wrong. Let's listen to her talk with Tucker Carlson about how he's done nothing wrong.
Congresswoman, you seem to be fighting still a year later a pretty lonely battle on the Republican side to wake up your own party to what they're supporting, which is Joe Biden's chief and craziest policy aim.
Well, it doesn't feel very lonely from my standpoint, Tucker. You know, we just heard Mike McCall, one of my colleagues in Congress, talk about bipartisan support for this war against Russia and Ukraine.
You catch that? The support for this war in Ukraine against Russia, which makes it sound like someone attacked Russians in Ukraine because they were just hanging out, going to their local bars, having a drink. This war against Russia in Ukraine, how did they get there? What are they doing fighting wars in Ukraine if someone attacked them? You see this, the way that these things are all slanted. And Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity will send emails and text messages to each other saying, "You hear that crazy bitch talking on my show?" Because that's what they say about people that are on their shows. Don't forget what we always heard and what it is that they do. This is all for that promotion. One more last one here, Ben, before we get out of this story. Because again, these guys are on TikTok, not doing dances, but espousing their beliefs in overturning the government and fighting a civil war on TikTok. Who's dumb enough to go on a social media site and think that you can generate enough real, actual support for turning over an entire country based off of social media interaction? Who's that dumb? Watch.
I actually think this is a much bigger movement than most people in Washington even realize. And you can take a look at the tweets that I made just yesterday. The amount of likes and retweets that those tweets got should tell people a lot.
It tells us a lot. Your likes and retweets is why this is going to happen. This is the clown nature that we're living in. These are the leaders. This is someone that's on Homeland Security, I believe, committees, talking like likes and retweets is the reason why we're gonna go ahead and have this civil war that I've been espousing. Let's jump gears.
Wait. One last thought. One last thought, Jay. I'm so sorry. I know you gotta move on.
I know you're gonna do that.
Just for the record, calling for civil war on television or social media, calling for secession, calling for battle, that's a crime. They've committed a crime now publicly. That is sedition. That is conspiracy to overthrow the government. That is actionable if the authorities see that, and they obviously could if they wanted to. They should shut that down. And as you perfectly pointed out, you don't attack a country by being invaded. That's not typically the way it works. Just for
they don't have to know how it works. They just have to know there's hate, violence, and opposition coming their way. Here it comes, you guys. Always be ready.